1, 2, 3.
The bigger picture. That is what you Hollywood would stand for.
I push myself every single day to make
It's beyond anything else.
Hello, folks. I'm Tommy NC2010, live here from Western North Carolina, and tonight we have an epic interview, one of the most electrifying shows here on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest tonight is the one and only A-class celebrity here on YouTube and also in Hollywood, and also recently now he has now been on the new recently baited podcast, the new reformatted baited podcast, if you know what I mean. That means, huh?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good. How are you doing, Andy? And I really do appreciate you accepting this. Like, just to say, folks, it was out of the blue. I didn't think Andy Milonakis knew who I was. Honestly, I tweeted him and I said straight up, Andy, you probably don't know who I am, and I'd like to interview you. And Andy tweets me back. He's like, don't be mistaken, Tommy. I do know who you are.
I said, no, boy, Tommy, boy, I do know you. Yeah, man. I've been watching a lot of YouTube for the last, 6 months. You know, for most of my life on YouTube, I never even looked at, when you subscribe to people, you have, your sub feed.
Mm-hmm.
I never even looked at that for years and years. Because I just was like, yeah, once in a while I watch a video that someone sends me or whatever, or I search for something. But since I'm slowly starting to get into YouTube, I started watching, subbing to people and actually watching my sub feed. And starting to get the gist of all the, inside drama channels and all that stuff. And so, I saw all the stuff that went down with you and stuff. Yeah, so I knew who you were. You little cutie.
I appreciate that, Andy. Oh my gosh, that's an honor. I really do appreciate that. So, since you are such an A-class celebrity,
Tommy, let me interrupt you. A lot of people, and I'm not just being self-deprecating. A lot of people are self-deprecating because it's a crutch and it's always, it always seems humble and funny to make fun of yourself. But I think 99% of the people watching this would highly disagree, including myself. I've been lucky. I've definitely been proud. I'm definitely proud of my accomplishments. It's kind of rare to have your own show and stuff. So I'm not downing myself at all, but on the grand scheme of Hollywood, I'm very, very, very low on the totem pole, but I'm still proud to have accomplished what I did.
I toast. I'm holding a glass right now. I toast to you, Andy. Anything is anything, and if you can make it, you can make it anywhere. You don't have to. You're in California.
You can make it there. You can make it anywhere. This is new. This is you. How's it go? This is you, New York, or this is new?
These vagabond shoes start spreading the news.
Sing it, boy.
I'm up to here, forget about it. New York, New York.
Yeah, boy.
These vagabond shoes start spreading the news. That's all I know.
I like it.
Andy, what was your first paid job, and what was it like to taking a Hollywood job? Getting a Hollywood job like that?
My first paid job was busboy, cleaning. After people are done with their meal, you clean their, you take their dishes away in a bus table and you wipe the table down. And then I pumped gas. I worked in retail at a store that's kind of similar to Target.
Wow.
Um, I worked at Kinko's. I've had a lot of a lot of kind of regular seeming jobs. To get my first paid job in Hollywood was pretty amazing. You know, when I first got discovered by Jimmy Kimmel, I had no idea what it was going to lead to. They basically started playing my internet videos on Jimmy Kimmel Live. I didn't get paid for those, but it was just like, whoa, all right, I'm not going to mess this up. I started to ask for money. It could have been the end of my career before it even started. So I was just like, whatever you want. I signed away. And then, so then they said this to me. They started playing a lot of my internet videos. I did some stuff on the street where I interviewed people, but I was literally just holding a camera up to people in a blizzard in New York, asking people why they're out in a blizzard. Like, why are you out in a blizzard? Isn't it stupid to be out in a blizzard? And the stupid joke of it was I was out in a blizzard too. I was recording them. So they saw that and they're like, hey, we're interested in having you be a traveling correspondent for us. But the thing is, you're not on camera in any of the videos. You're talking to people. So make us a tape where you're actually on camera so we can see how you are on camera with people. So I went out to New York City with one of my friends and he filmed me actually being on camera this time. And I freestyle rapped with people. I was like feeding, hand feeding chicken to homeless people, which was kind of silly and stupid. I mailed them a tape, and then they started. They're like they liked it, so then they're like, "Okay, cool, man. We really thought you did a good job. We're gonna start flying you to different places to be like an interviewer for Jimmy Kimmel Live." And those were my first paid jobs, and it definitely felt surreal. It definitely didn't feel like real, and it was pretty amazing. And I was like, hopefully this doesn't end, and it turns into a career, and it pretty much did.
I've followed some of your career, and people have told me as I've been telling people about you, I'm like, I'm gonna interview Andy Milonakis, and they're like, yeah, he was on MTV back in 2005, and I was like, I didn't really. I'm actually an MTV guy myself. I was actually on MTV's Made also,
Oh,
but not as big as you. Not as not. I didn't have much of a long term appearance on MTV as you did, and what was that like to have your own like, was it like a sitcom? Because I believe that's probably what it was.
it wasn't exactly a sitcom. It was kind of like a strange comedy show that had the device of using real people instead of. I didn't want actors. I wanted real people. I always thought that was kind of better to have real people be acting in scenes being weird. We had a prank element. We had a sketch comedy element. It was just kind of like a weird variety comedy show. We kind of made our own format. Um, and it was the hardest job I ever had in my life. It definitely did amazing things for me. So not in a complaining way, but in an actual like difficult, hard, like in a difficult way. I was like, I've with all my regular jobs that I've had, I've never had to work so hard in my life. I woke up, I shot outside in the winter in New York for about 10 hours, 11 hours, and then after I shot for 10 or 11 hours, I went to a writer's meeting, then a producer's meeting, then I went to my hotel to like rewrite jokes and bits, and then after that I went out partying and drinking just to like kind of like clear my head, and then I'd wake up and do the same thing over and over again. It was one of the most fun experiences I've ever had, but one of the most difficult ones as well.
How many seasons did your show run for exactly?
3 seasons. We did it for a few years.
Now I know that it's one of those hard things that it hits you in the gut. How was that feeling for you when they said, Andy, we've run for 3 seasons, but MTV's not going to budget us? What was that feeling for you when they said the show's going to be canceled?
Um, I mean, I guess I was a little upset. I don't know. After 3 years of doing the same thing, though, it definitely felt like it had run its course. If they offered me one more season, I might have done it for one more year. But at that time, I already had a little bit of fame. I already had a little bit of money, and I was living in LA, and I started to get some movies, and I started to like develop different parts of my career.
That's definitely
So,
good. Like
so it
Seinfeld did.
wasn't, yeah, it wasn't really that much of like a heart wrenching thing for me, honestly. If they were like, hey, we'll give you X amount of dollars to do one more season, I think I probably would have done one more season, but I don't know. I feel like it was a good amount of time.
You mind if I ask you like a question, like per episode? Like, what dollar amount is this? If that's too much to ask, or would you care if I asked you that?
I don't know. I probably shouldn't get into like
Money,
money per
okay.
episode. All I know is like, uh, with the outside stuff that you get from being on a show and having your own show, you make just as much or more money with side deals. So
Oh,
like,
really?
I'll tell you this, like, just from one brand deal alone at the time, and brand deals were different back then. I made almost the same amount of money in one brand deal as I made in a whole season of the show. Um, so it was good. It was good. I don't know. Money can be very ugly. I don't want to really talk about dollar amounts.
I understand. If that was too far, I'm sorry if I offended you.
No, you definitely didn't offend me at all.
Okay. Now I understand that I've watched I've watched one of your movies, I believe, and that's called Waiting. Am I right? And
Yeah.
you played the stoner kid that was the dishwasher, and
So I played myself pretty much because I was a busboy, and I smoke weed. So
what was it like working with Ryan Reynolds on the set of that movie set?
I didn't really hang out with Ryan that much. He was really nice, and he's a funny dude. I like him, but I kind of kicked it with some of the other cast members more. Like I went out drinking with like Anna Faris and Vanessa and Luis Guzman. I was in his trailer smoking a joint. He was telling me how he almost like threw the Boogie Nights script in the garbage. He had it in his pile for like a year, and he finally picked it up, and he's like so happy he read it. So like I hung out with a lot of the cast members more than him.
Now, with the system in Hollywood and where you say you are at the totem pole, is it easy for you to walk in now with your rankings the way they are? Is it easy for you to walk into Pacific clubs? Or have you ever been stopped and be like, Andy Milonakis, nope, out the door, get out of here. You're on this list. Has that ever happened to you at any point with the ranking that you are in Hollywood?
What, like going out like nightclubs?
Yeah, nightclubs and like high class clubs and stuff
Oh,
like
well,
that.
those I have no trouble with. Like I'll still get paid to like go to clubs and just to do like an appearance and like so like that. I'm fortunate in that aspect. Like I usually don't have to wait in line. I usually could just walk to most places and get a bunch of people in. Or sometimes do gigs. Well, they'll pay me to go show up and they'll put my face on a flyer or something.
Mm.
But you don't really have to be. I don't feel like you have to be that high up on the totem pole for that. I'm just saying, like, look, I think it's good to know your position, especially especially when people are too kind of like riding themselves and thinking they're so cool and they're all that. Like, I would say that I'm a pretty confident person, but I feel like I have a decent amount of humility. Like I feel like it's not really just being humble, but it's also just being realistic. Like I know where I am. Like there are so many huge, big actors that have accomplished so much, and they're so talented. To me, I'm a silly fat kid. I think I'm fairly decent at making weird, funny rap songs, and I'm definitely not downing myself. I'm definitely like, you know, I think I'm an all right person, but it's bad to mistake yourself as like being so important and like, yeah, I'm this big celebrity because I don't feel like I am.
Now, I'm not being rude when I say this, but this is a curious question I've been wanting to ask you. And the announcement comes out that Tommy C and Colossal's Crazy are leaving the Baited podcast. Keemstar and Tommy can't work together, and Colossal has joined sides with Tommy. How do you find your name on the list for the new Baited podcast? How did that all fold out for you?
It was interesting. I was in New York City over Christmas break visiting my family, and I get a tweet from Keemstar, and he tweets at like maybe 4 or 5 people saying, "Hey, you guys are on a short list for potential hosts of the new Baited podcast." And at first, I think, oh, that's cool. I listened to Baited podcast. I listened to most of the episodes. That's cool that like a show that I listen to, I'm being considered to be a host of. And then I'm thinking, well, if Tommy and Clown left, I already had communication with Clown, and I dig the guy, and I was like,
you felt nervous. You felt like you were gonna step on toes, and you.
You know what? This is the thing. It's weird when you think about, your actions, and sometimes you might wake up on one side of the bed and you make a completely different decision. Sometimes like if you kind of rewind scenarios of your life, like different scenarios, and just be like, I could have woken up a little cranky, and like I could have met somebody that I pissed off, and they could have been like a potential employer, and they could have hired me for a job if I treated them the right way. Your choices can vary so much depending on how you feel at that moment. Like I thought, like, in a lot of different scenarios, I might have been like hit Clown up on Skype and been like, "Hey man, did Keem fuck you over? He's asking me to potentially be a host. I want to make sure that you're not salty about me jumping on this. Now I'm gonna be a part of the show that you just left, and like maybe I should ask you like how you feel about it, or like what your side of the story is. Did you did you get messed over or whatever? Like, and that might have been one of my reactions. And then sometimes I'm just like, you know what? Who cares? He's a grown man. He can handle it. Like, whatever. I don't really know exactly what Keemstar did. Keemstar has not always had the best track record in my book. It's not like I'm like, oh, Keemstar's my best friend, let me go do this. At the time, I didn't think too highly of Keemstar, but you know what? Sometimes in life, you just say fuck it. You just say YOLO, even though the YOLO phrase or whatever word is kind of cringe. Sometimes you just snap call, and you're like, you know what? Who cares? It's a podcast on the internet. You talk a bunch of trash. Who cares? Yes, I'll do it if you want me. And I was in the running between a few other people. He hit me up and said, yeah, I'm going to pick you and Chad. And I said, yes, okay. Yeah, it is what it is.
Now, leading up to that, what is it like working with the one and only killer of the internet, Killer Keemstar? What is that like, in your opinion?
Well, we've only done 2 episodes so far, so I don't really have that much intel. A lot of people think that the new podcast is a circle jerk. I think because of the topic being Tommy, and I don't really know exactly what went down between the two. And a lot of it has been kind of talking about the old podcast, and that was a personal beef throughout those 3 people. I feel like I haven't felt the need to truly take Keemstar to task. When a topic arises that we butt heads on, I don't give a fuck, man. I'm gonna tell it like it is, like, and if it's boring that I don't butt heads with him, if it's boring that I'm not screaming at him and sending him to hell every episode, I'd rather it be boring and be real, because I made a decision that I don't want to just put on an act and be like, Keemstar, you're a piece of shit, fuck you. Why would you think that? Like, you know what? If I really wanted to put on an act and make it interesting and just scream at the guy and like have conflicting views every single thing he says, I could do that. I could sell that. People would believe it, but I would rather just be real. When I feel the need to speak up, when I feel the need to compete with him on a topic, I will. If not, too bad. And sorry, listeners, if that's not exciting for you, you know?
One question I was going to ask you, and I don't know if you want me to ask this question, but the particular question was this. I don't know if you want me to ask it, but would you want me to ask the question? Because it was a particular question I wanted to ask you. I think I asked you this question once before, and I didn't know if you wanted me to ask this question. The question is, filling in the shoes for Tommy C and Clown, is that hard? Is it hard filling those shoes and getting into that position? Because you realize what you guys are on there. Like, I said this a long time ago. I said Colossal's Crazy, Tommy C, and Keemstar are like the Three Stooges of the Baited podcast. So technically, you guys have become now the Three Stooges of YouTube now. You know, get what I'm saying?
I feel like, maybe, okay, so maybe Tommy, I didn't listen to all the podcasts, but the main critique about Tommy is not really adding that much to the conversation and kind of agreeing and laughing and stuff like that. When I seen him on his solo videos, the guy's a fucking maniac. He definitely has a mouth on him, and like I told him as a compliment, he reminds me of an old school like Howard Stern regular. So I think he has a mouth on him that is good for a podcast. And Clown is very intelligent, kind of says whatever the fuck he feels, is completely fine with having conflict all the time person. I think as a podcast, those two guys are probably both way better for a podcast than me. Even Clown said Andy's not really meant for a podcast. And to some extent, I agree. Can I turn into a character that would be good for a podcast? Maybe. But I feel like I'm just a little too chill. Like, maybe I don't know. I feel like a lot of the arguing is pointless. Like, yeah, when you have a topic that you really butt heads on and you naturally are conflicted about, then yeah, I get it. But I feel like my attitude might be too, who the fuck cares? Like, what are you guys screaming about? Like,
I get what you're saying.
I feel like maybe I'm a little too laid back to be, a great podcaster. But I don't know, maybe I'm just, shitting on myself before I've seen what I could do, because I definitely have a mouth on me too. And if the right topics come up and it comes time for me to tell someone to go fuck themselves, I'm pretty good at that too. So, who knows? We'll see what happens.
All right. Andy, since you have formatted yourself now to YouTube, can anybody contact you and interview you, or did you just do this specially for me? Are you looking forward to do other interviews for other YouTubers? I'm curious.
No, Tommy, I definitely liked your character from what I saw of you. I saw a couple videos of you, and you made me smile, and I liked your character. And, there have been, big radio shows that have asked me to do stuff where I'm like, nah, not really interested. Maybe I'll do some here or there, but it's a case-by-case thing, I might say no to 20 and yes to 1.
So, and we reached a segment now where it's an open format, and there's one impression and one question that you can ask me, and you're welcome to shoot them at me, and I'll answer them, or I do impressions occasionally, or if you do an impression, we love to see it if you have impressions.
I'm really bad at impressions, but I'll ask you to do. Let's see Donald Trump.
Humongous, really humongous. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a wall. It's really, it's truly the great one. Truly great. It's amazing. Just, it's also amazing.
Can you say China?
China. China. We're gonna get China. We're gonna bring all the jobs back from China, and we're gonna bring it here, in America. We're gonna make America great again.
Nice. Okay, so now I ask you one question.
Yes, sir.
I think you're a funny guy. I want to know why you aren't making more like comedy sketches on your YouTube channel. I like the interviews, but I would like to know why aren't you making like some straight up crazy comedy? Just because I think you'd be good at it.
I really kind of don't see myself as funny. Really, I don't know.
I do.
The problem with that is doing comedy sketches is you have to work with people, and I have ideas for comedy sketches, goofy ideas for comedy sketches. I'm a big wrestling fan, and I've had some ideas for stuff. I have some stuff I'm doing in the future soon. But the thing is, like, I have a series for YouTubers. Like, the idea is basically 3 things that you can basically capture a YouTuber. But when I try to get people together, people don't really want to work with me. So, for instance,
they're assholes.
They're not really. They're not.
I'm just joking.
They're not that. But, for instance, your buddy, you worked with him, Harley Morenstein, the South Boss. I wanted to make a video about him, and it's called 3 different ways that you could capture Harley Morenstein. And I was trying my best to. I want to still do it. I can't believe I just said what the series would be, or I feel like I just ruined it. I shouldn't have said it, but I'll leave it in there. But in the future, folks, I might have some comedy sketches where I have certain YouTubers that it's like 3 different items. Well, the one thing is, Harley likes bacon. Harley likes Jack Daniels. Harley loves money. So you set up these 3 items, and here comes Harley. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. And he's like, oh, hey there, some bacon there. Oh, yeah, you got a cutty. And he goes down there.
You got a cutty.
He comes down. I get him with like a bag or somebody. It's an actor with a beard, and I yank him, and I'm like, I throw him in the car like a. But, it's like, but in quotations I say, these are 3 different ways how you can capture a YouTuber. And
yeah, also, not just bacon, but if you have, like, a cleanly shaved, like, 28-year-old black man, I mean, Harley will definitely come running.
Oh, my God. Is there an inside joke between you two?
No, that's just, like, that's just his preference. We all like different things, like 23-year-old, petite blonde girls, and he just his preference, 28-year-old shaved black men.
Harley, if you watch this, leave your opinion in the comments below what you think about this. I don't know if there's gonna be like a Twitter war between you and Harley.
Harley, fucking bring it, all right? I'll ship your ass back to Canada. I don't even think you're allowed back in the States after Donald Trump, gets in.
Oh my gosh. I've been wanting to get Harley on here also, but I want to say thank you so much, Andy. Thank you so much for coming
No problem.
on here.
And you know what? I'll give Harley shit about doing your show. I'm gonna try to help make that happen for you. How about that?
Thank you, man. And one of my biggest, one of my other biggest dreams is? Biggest dreams on the top of the list.
Cuddling in a blanket with me? What? I don't know.
Having my own episode of Epic Mealtime. That's one of my biggest dreams right there.
That's a nice dream, man. But once this interview goes live, I'm gonna tweet it to Harley, and I'm gonna say you should do Tommy's show, and we'll see what happens. All right.
Okay. And I just want to say thank you so much, Andy, for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Tommy Talks on the Tommy NC 2010 channel. Check out Andy Milonakis' channel, A-Class Celebrity. And that, okay, folks, I'm gonna say this, Andy, you're a big star, and I've been talking about you. People been blowing up my ears. Tommy, you're in the interview, Andy Milonakis. Andy, you're cool. You're important. You're a superstar. Andy, would you mind joining in me chanting "You Hollywood" before we end the show here?
Okay, ready? Should we do it on the count of 3?
1, 2, 3.
3.
You Hollywood.
Hollywood.
You Hollywood. You Hollywood. You
You-
Hollywood. You Hollywood. You Hollywood. Thank you so much, folks. I'm Tommy NC 2010. This has been one of the most electrifying interviews with Mr. Andy Milonakis, and I'm keeping you on the inside fact. Subscribe, support, stay positive.